Good evening, this is Tacks and Zakka. Jacob, a couple of days after the intense violence on the streets of Kolkata and Howrah, all bets are now off. The gloves are well and truly off between the BJP and the TMC. The BJP has accused the TMC of shielding the corrupt. This after a fourth TMC leader is arrested for suspected corruption. This is after Anirban Banerjee, Partha Chatterjee. But what has really irked not just the BJP but also folks within the TMC is what Abhishek Banerjee said about the Kolkata police not firing on Tuesday. That has set off some tongues wagging. In a democracy, anyone has the right to protest peacefully. And for a party, the TMC, a party that burst into Bengal's consciousness after the 1993 firing on Martyrs' Day, can this be acceptable? The fact that the police did not shoot, is that some kind of benevolence? Is that some kind of charity? All that and more coming up over the next 30 minutes. But first, the story of the day.
Days after the fierce clashes over BJP's Nobonno Cholo march, Bengal is still simmering. Adding fuel to the fire was Abhishek Banerjee. The TMC MP met policemen who were injured in the violence and praised them for what he called showing restraint. And then he made this shocking statement.
আপনার জায়গায় যদি আমি থাকতাম আর আমার সামনে যদি পুলিশের গাড়িতে আগুন জ্বলতো বা এইভাবে পুলিশের উপর আক্রমণ হতো আমি এখানে শুট করতাম মাথার উপরে
BJP condemned Abhishek Banerjee and called the TMC government fascist.
ये मुझे लगता है ऐसे बयान का भारत में कोई स्थान नहीं है. ये एकदम से लोकतंत्र के खिलाफ है, संविधान के खिलाफ है.
That wasn't the only showdown today. There were fireworks in the Bengal Assembly. TMC and BJP MLAs armed with placards charged at one another. Leader of the opposition, Shubhendu Adhikari, sought an adjournment motion, wanting to speak about the Bengal teachers' recruitment scam and corruption. The speaker turned down the motion, citing that the matter is sub judice.
Shubhendu Adhikari brought up a proposal for discussion. You cannot discuss matters which are sub judice because they knew that they would not be allowed. They started agitating.
TMC carried placards which said, "Don't touch my body," a dig at Shubhendu Adhikari for his now viral comment on the day of the Nobonno Cholo march.
ये बंगाल का जो कल्चर है रामकृष्ण मिशन से लेकर हमारी जो रिच कल्चर है ये रिच कल्चर को ये टीएमसी पार्टी कंपनी तोड़ रहा है. बंगाल की पॉलिटिक्स का जो गरिमा है उसको खत्म कर रहा है.
Amidst the war of words, the question is, who's behind the baval in Bengal?
Let me go across to our guests who are joining us on the talking point this evening. GVL Narasimha Rao, a member of parliament of the BJP. Riju Datta is TMC spokesperson. Anirban Banerjee, political analyst. Jaideep Mazumdar is associate editor with Swrajya magazine. And Som Mandal is an advocate. Let me start with Riju Datta. Your General Secretary of your party, Abhishek Banerjee, saying today that had I been in the place of the police, I would have shot them in the head. I would have shot them in the forehead. Is this responsible talk by virtually the number 2 of your party? I mean, how can anybody who is in public life say, if I were in the police's place, I would have shot them in the head?
Zakka, good evening to you. See, first of all, what Abhishek Banerjee said, there are a lot of narratives about it because it has been twisted and turned. Let me start off by saying, in Bengal, what happened in the Nabanya Abhiyan, the BJP leaders have been campaigning for more than 3 weeks. Nobody was lathi charged. Nobody was not given permission. But on D-Day, just because you cannot get people, you import hoodlums from neighboring states by booking trains and you destroy public property. You beat up our assistant commissioner, break his hand. You set fire to a police car, and then you expect the Calcutta police and the Bengal police not to do anything. They were doing their job.
Is it your position? Is it your party's position?
What Abhishek Banerjee,
Sir, is it your party's position that the police should have shot the protesters in the head? That's what your General Secretary said.
Absolutely not. My General Secretary as well as the Chief Minister and our party chairperson has said the police has shown tremendous restraint in dealing with these hoodlums. If us as general member of the public or a layman would have been there, we would have probably shot them in the head. But that does not mean that we are doing it, because last we have seen of incidents like this was in 1993 when the CPM government shot 13 of our political cadres. And let me remind your viewers that it is not the first time somebody made a comment like this. BJP Union Minister Anurag Thakur said Goli Maro Salo ko. The viewers should also remind that.
So Riju Datta, you are the party of Shingur and you are the party of Nandigram and you are the party of 1993 Martyrs Day, and your General Secretary says I would have shot these people on the forehead. I mean, I leave it to the people of Bengal to decide. I mean, this is to my mind how much the TMC has traversed over the last 20-30 years as a political party. But be that as it may, GVL Narasimha Rao, please respond to what Riju has been asking. You set police vehicles on fire. You beat up police persons. There is, I think, a DCP level officer whose arm was broken, who's in hospital today. Surely none of that can be justified.
Zakka, good evening to you and the viewers of the channel. The allegations are bizarre and completely. Thousands, tens of thousands of BJP cadres have been arrested, detained, not allowed even to participate in the protest. They have resorted to one undemocratic means to not to allow a protest to happen. Number two, they wanted to discredit the protest by bringing in their own goons, the TMC goons, and indulging in such violence. So it is undemocratic. TMC has proved not just to be undemocratic, fascist, and in fact, I think they have brought politics to a no by spreading violence and then blaming the BJP for their violence. And the statement of their General Secretary is the new lowest in Indian politics. I think he's actually trying, he's possibly egging on TMC goons to go and shoot people in the head if it doesn't suit their politics. This kind of statements are unpardonable. I want to know whether TMC government will they at least apologize. I don't expect them to book a case and arrest him because he is the ladla of the chief minister. He is the relative of the chief minister. But will they at least have some shame? And no,
but GVL, specific question that's being asked is no, 1 second, Riju, I'll come back to Riju, but GVL, specific question that's being asked is, when the farmers wanted to come to Delhi and protest, the government did not allow them to do so. There were other protests. There's 144 around Parliament. Similarly, there's 144 around Nabonno. So why is the treatment meted out by the TMC government any different from what you've done to the farmers?
No, certainly. You see, what is the Delhi's case is very different. And certainly we did not. Whether it's the case of farmers or it's the case of Shaheen Bagh, people have actually protested for months together on squatting on public property. We did not. We could have easily used police force to really to remove them from their places. But we allowed democratic protests to happen. But here in Bengal, democracy has been given a complete burial. Mamata Banerjee wants to rule only by police force and by brute force.
Riju Datta, respond. You can say there is 144 around Nabonno, but why are you stopping them 20 kilometers away from Nabonno? Why are you stopping them in Howrah? Are they not citizens of Kolkata? Can't they come into the city?
One second. Like I said in my introductory remarks, that anybody is allowed to do a rally and a protest. They have been doing it for the last 3 weeks. The main barricade where they were stopped and water cannons were discharged was only 2 kilometers away from the Secretariat of West Bengal, which is the seat of administration. If tomorrow TMC goes to Gherao the parliament, will BJP allow it? It does not work that way.
Sir, Shuvendu Adhikari was stopped in Howrah, and Howrah is 20 kilometers away.
1 second. Thank you for raising that point, Zakka. Shumendu Adhikari, now let me tell you this. There are so much trouble in their own house. Dilip Ghosh is doing something. Sukant Mazumdar is doing something. Shumendu started the rally 3 hours after from where he was staying in Behala. And then he said, don't touch my body, got in a police car and ran off. He ran off like a coward and let his rioters run roost. But the most important thing, Zakka, which I want to show on your channel today is, please see this. This is Mr. Paritosh Mondal, the main accused in the burning of the police vehicle and running chaos, is seen here with the Deputy Home Minister of the country, and he resides in Dinhata, which is in the same area where the Deputy Home Minister resides in Kuch Bihar district of West Bengal.
Okay.
So what will Mr. Amit Shah and Mr. Nishit Pramanik say about this?
Look, we have no way
They
of
are saying that
verifying
we
the
are creating
antecedents
the
of this
trouble.
person that you're showing on TV. But anyway, we'll get that checked out. I want to go across to our analyst now. I want to go across to Anirban Banerjee and then Jaideep Mazumdar. Anirban Banerjee, I mean, I find it baffling that TMC, which was at the forefront of the police high-handedness in Shingur, in Nandigram, today the General Secretary of that party says the police should have shot protesters in their forehead. I mean, the TMC is the party of Mati Manush, isn't it?
That is a very wrong way of putting the statement because it's getting lost in translation somewhere. What Mr. Banerjee said, it was part of a very private conversation between two individuals. Had he not revealed a part of that conversation before the media, nobody would have even known that whatever he said to the police officer.
But Anirban, nobody forced him, nobody shoved a mic up his throat, no? He came and he gave the bite. And he said, this is what I told the policeman who was injured.
Zakka, that is the point. That is part of a very private conversation. Mr. Banerjee is not an official of the government. He is not a minister in the government. He does not decide the government policy in West Bengal.
Is he or is he not the number 2 person in the TMC? Simple question.
He might be the number 1, number 2, number 3, whatever in the TMC. That is the party.
Okay.
The party is not the government. The
So
government
what
is the government
is
and the
okay?
chief
Forget about the
minister.
government. What is TMC as a political party? What is its position as far as the police action is concerned? What is its position as far as what Mr. Banerjee said today, that the police should have shot people in the forehead? As a political party, what is their position?
He did not say the police should have shot. He said, had I been in your place, I could not have controlled myself and I would have shot him in the forehead.
Okay, so what is the difference?
He did not say that I am the police.
It's the same thing. What is the difference?
No.
He's saying the same thing, isn't he?
Let me complete, Zakka.
Okay, go ahead.
Instructing the police to shoot someone under the government's directive is one thing, and another thing, as a layman, we or Mr. Banerjee himself does not have the police training. He is not part of the police force. He is not bound by the law of the land either. As a layman,
you know,
I'll
give you an equivalent, and GVL is on the broadcast. I'll go to Jaideep after this. I'll give you it's like saying, you know, Mr. Nadda is the party president of the BJP. Mr. Nadda is not part of the government. He doesn't speak for the government, but Mr. Nadda comes out and says, I should have shot the farmers in the forehead. Right? I mean, the whole world would have jumped on that. The entire country would have jumped on a statement like that. That's the equivalent of what you're saying, that Mr. Banerjee has nothing to do with your government. It's not a position of the government. This is his individual opinion. Individual opinions matter. Individual opinions matter when that individual happens to be the second most important person in your party.
That was part of the private conversation. I'm repeating it.
Which he revealed in a soundbite to reporters. He revealed it to the public.
Said that I said this to the officer who was grievously hurt.
Jaideep wanted to make a point. Jaideep. No, again, I come back to this. I mean, for the party of Singur and the party of Nandigram for the General Secretary of that party to say this, I don't know. It just shows the gamut or how far TMC has travelled. Jaideep, yeah. Thank you.
Good evening to you, all the panelists and your viewers. Now, there are two aspects to this. Just give me 1 minute and I'll make it clear. What Abhishek Banerjee said was, revealed a deep-seated political hatred for the BJP, which manifests itself in, killings of scores of BJP workers over the years. Thousands have been driven out of their homes, attacked, etc. And the second point, I want to ask the Trinamool spokesperson and the other panelists, would Abhishek Banerjee have dared to say the same thing about those who burnt Kaliachok police station in January 2016 and torched and damaged and burnt a number of government vehicles, including police vehicles and BSF vehicles? Would Abhishek Banerjee have dared to say the same thing about anti-CAA protesters who damaged railway property, who attacked running trains and created terror amongst passengers. Would Abhishek Banerjee
And
have dared to say it?
workers were
No,
arrested
no,
doing that.
no, he would
RSS
not have.
workers were
Do not
arrested
interrupt
doing
me.
that.
I never interrupted
Anirban,
you.
give him 30 seconds. I'll come back to you for a response, but let him finish.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you. Jaideep.
So my point is, the first point I'll elaborate on that. This is a manifestation of the very deep-seated hatred that the Trinamool harbors for the BJP, for a political opposition. Just not the BJP, also the Congress and the CPM. They have also been at the receiving end of the Trinamool's hooliganism and barbaric behavior, not just by the Trinamool, but also by the police. So, and on top of this, it is not just Abhishek Banerjee who said it. Mamata Banerjee also said something very similar at an administrative meeting the day all this happened, or the day after that. She had said the police exercised restraint. They could have shot the rallyists. She said this. She's on record having said this. So that means she's actually encouraging her party supporters and her party cadres, her party goons, to actually go and shoot the opposition.
Anirban, respond, and then I'll go to Som Mandal after that. Yeah.
See, half-truths and farragos are actually more dangerous than complete lies, because it's very difficult to differentiate between the two at times, and that is exactly what Mr. Mazumdar has resorted to here. Anyway, I personally think that a party that officially supports gang rapists and child murderers and hails them as heroes, they have no moral right whatsoever questioning anybody else on anything. This is a fact. The BJP officially supports gang rapists and mass murderers. And here they are pointing fingers at somebody else based on half-truths and farragos and complete lies.
Anirban, nobody is justifying the remission that was given to Bilkis Banu's convicts. No one is justifying that. But the point is, one wrong does not justify another. I mean, let's be very clear about this. What happened on the streets of Kolkata were excesses. I have not seen, and I've been a journalist for the last 20 years, I have not seen policemen throw stones. I've seen protesters throw stones. I've seen stone pelters throw stones. But policemen throwing stones, I have not seen that. And again, by no stretch of the imagination am I brooking, the DCP whose arm got fractured. That's again unacceptable. But to say that opposition parties cannot protest and they'll be stopped 20 kilometers away from the seat of power, come on, that's not a democracy. That's not democratic principle.
There's a difference between political protest and vandalism. So, what we witnessed yesterday was vandalism.
Okay, Som Mandal is also joining us. Som Mandal. Again, the question that's being asked. I've heard, BJP leaders and spokespersons say that this whole thing was orchestrated by the TMC. If that were the case, then they should put that out in the public domain. They should go to court saying that, look, this whole thing has been done to tarnish our image. They should put it out in the public domain that these are the TMC goons dressed up in BJP colors who did this in order to ensure that protest, the Nabanno Chalo Abhiyan, ended up in failure. That is how, a political fight has to be fought on the streets. It has to be fought in the public domain. So, Mandal.
Yeah, Zakka, I agree with you. If you remember what I said last time, is that there is actually no rule of law in Bengal. And what Abhishek Banerjee said was a follow-up to that, if the party does not, or the government in Bengal does not follow the rule of law, the party men will also not follow the rule of law. And as such, he made a very irresponsible statement for which actually there can be some cases for inciting public and all. Although he was directing his statement towards the police and giving his personal view, as some of the speakers mentioned today. But I think what you said about whether the BJP should take out the cases, as I mentioned last time, it is a case where BJP, rather than BJP, it is an independent inquiry that is required. And I think whether it is BJP or TMC, everybody will be pointing fingers at each other. Okay. And the truth will only come out if there is a proper sit constituted by the High Court in the investigation or the case that is being pursued before the Calcutta High Court, and the Calcutta High Court properly institutes a sit and where an inquiry is made, a proper investigation into actually who is
But
culprit
does
who
it
has
worry
taught
you,
the
Som Mandal,
police,
as a resident,
trucks.
as a resident of Kolkata? We've had the post-poll violence cases. Again, the state said, oh, these were minor skirmishes. The TMC was not in power. The Election Commission was still in charge of law and order. And then look at what the High Court said. We've seen that in the Birboom case. Again, the High Court had to intervene. Numerous cases where the courts have had to intervene when the state said that all was hunky-dory or things were not as bad as the media made it out to be.
Yeah, as I said earlier as well, that in Bengal, because of lack of rule of law, I mean, what does the citizen and people of Bengal do? They have to rely upon courts to sort of look at what the government is doing. Okay. Unfortunately, that is what the state of affairs in Bengal today is, that the court has to intervene in running the government. If the government is not responsible and looking after the citizen of the Bengal, then who else but the court, the people of Bengal has to look upon the court to give the right judgment.
It's not just riot cases, even corruption cases. Look at Partho Chatterjee's case. Look at Anubrata Mondal's case. It's the courts that are intervening. It's the courts that are bringing in their power to bear.
Yeah.
Zakka, I have a very big problem when people I have a very big problem when people and residents of Bengal come on national TV to malign Bengal. NCRB gave Calcutta as the safest city. You want to destroy Calcutta, what will the police do? Aapko phool chandan se puja karenge wo. What they did was perfect. Now, second, I am asking you, in terms of murder, kidnappings, rape, just see the NCRB list where Bengal is and where the other BJP ruled states are. I am not drawing a rhetoric here. Now, you talk about corruption. Investigation is going on. I will request all the central agencies, conduct your investigation but fast track it. Don't take it 10 years. If they are being convicted in the court of law, put them behind bars. But when you are doing a Nabani Abhiyan and you are saying I am doing this protest rally against corruption, your rally is led by a person called Shubhendu Adhikari who is mentioned in the ED and CBI charge sheet of Naroda and Charoda scam. Just because he is in the BJP, he has gone through the washing machine and he is a clean sheet person right now. And GVL Nasimha Rao, the honorable member of my country, is stooping down to the level of this lowlife Amit Malviya and says Trinamool has created this ruckus.
Once again, Riju. Today, a fourth leader of your party has been arrested on suspicion of corruption. I mean, you can't just wash away your hands saying, oh, the cash was recovered from Arpita Mukherjee's residence and it has nothing to do with us. Partho Chatterjee was in your government, as I understand, amongst the top 3 in your government. He was Mamata Banerjee's right-hand man. To say that, oh, it got recovered from some aide who has nothing to do with our party or government, that just doesn't cut it.
Zakka, just give me 30 seconds of your time to give you a rebut. Partho Chatterjee's close aid hoards of cash was collected. What did Trinamool Congress do in 6 days? We removed him from the cabinet. We removed him from the party by giving benefit to the people of Bengal who has voted to us to power 3 times in a row. Now let me give you an example. And remind your viewers also that sometime back our honorable MP Sudeep Bandyopadhyay was arrested by CBI. Madan Mitra was arrested by CBI. What happened? They are out on bail. The court case is going on. But he is still a member of the parliament. He is the leader of the Lok Sabha. And by the permission of the Central Election Commission, Madan Mitra fought an election and he is the member of a legislative assembly from Kamarhati. So what nuisance is happening here? Either the central government agencies file their charge sheet, get their orders from the court of law and throw the accused behind bars, or say they are innocent.
I mean, you're basically using ED, CBI, IT to drag on these cases, cast aspersions on these leaders, but ultimately nothing comes of it.
No, Zakka, this is a.
17 years,
I think this is the last.
This is GVL.
This is.
Thank you. Yeah.
You see, after having got completely caught in corruption, I think this is a very desperate attempt to really seek early investigations. I think investigations will happen as they should. And it is for the agencies and the courts to really look after this. And as far as corruption is concerned, Partho Chatterjee's, those bundles of cash, crores of currency, they were not placed by the Enforcement Directorate. At least you have not made that atrocious claim. This is cash that was stashed. And this is corrupt money that was discovered. He was already in collusion and in partnership with the lady who was arrested in this case. And your corruption having got exposed, now you're seeking recuse in
Zakka,
early
20-second rebuttal,
investigations.
please.
Investigations
Please.
Yeah,
will
I'll
happen
come
and
back to you. I'll
convictions
come back
also
to you.
will happen. And I'm appalled at the comments made by the so-called political analyst on the panel. He appears to be a very internal member of Abhishek Banerjee. I think Anirban, he was making some very silly claims, silly statements. He said Abhishek Banerjee is not bound by the law of the land, as if he's a law unto himself. What kind of comments are you making? He's a public representative.
20-second rebuttal,
He's a
please.
member of
Question to
parliament.
GVL.
How can you even make such a silly statement that he's not bound by the laws of the land? And what he said is what he has said, and you're claiming that what he said outside is a private conversation he had inside. Who the hell has forced him to make these comments outside? It only shows his mindset.
Okay.
It is only an indication to the
Riju wants to
TMC
make a
cadres.
10-second
What you have
rebuttal.
done is not enough.
Okay,
Take the
Riju wants
gun
to
in
make a
your hands
10-second
and shoot.
rebuttal. Riju,
GVL. I want to ask the BJP MP, when they act this holier than thou, and Zakka, you have covered elections in Assam, as far as I remember. BJP ran an entire campaign distributing pamphlets against the corruptions of Hemanta Biswa Sarma. Who is he now? BJP Chief Minister from Assam. They ran an entire campaign against Shubhendu Adhikari, where from their official channel they showed him taking money in the Naroda scam. Where is he now? Leader of opposition of Bengal, given Z category security. And the honorable MP making baseless, childish claims that the Trinamool Congress people, cadres, went into this rally to create all this ruckus is just appalling. He is stupid to the level of Amit Malviya, which is completely unacceptable.
Okay, no, one second, no personal attacks, please. Riju, come on. We've had a civil conversation. I've given both of you equal time. GVL, I'll give you the closing comment. I've got to wrap up in a minute. Yeah.
You see the attempts of the West Bengal government to prevent a political protest in Bengal, and taking and arresting, detaining BJP leaders only shows anti-democratic mindset. It clearly shows Mamata Banerjee has lost her nerve. She is scared about not only action against her corrupt colleagues, she is also worried about losing Bengal. 2024, BJP will sweep Bengal.
I got to wrap up because
seats. This time we will win.
I really am short of time.
Bengal.
I really am short of time. I want to wrap up because we have to take a break. And when we come back, the Prime Minister has already landed in Samarkand in Uzbekistan for the SCO summit. It comes at a time when there is great flux. There is, of course, the Russia-Ukraine war, which is well past its 6th month now. There seems to be a great churn going on geopolitically. Quick break. When we come back, we'll take you live to Samarkand, as well as we'll be joined by a panel of experts on what to expect over the next 2 days at the SCO summit.